So today, let me show my P&L in a $1,000 challenge. I'm up $74. It is green, I'm happy with that, but it could have been way greener. Let's get into it. What happened and what can we learn from that? I traded 6 stickers today. This is their individual P&L. This sticker was on my scanner on my broker, so we reduce resistance. Now we can also see on a daily chart, here's like a bunch of resistance. Now usually I'm not the biggest fan of trading that in that type of resistance because it can easily get slammed down. But yeah, lately the market is quite hot. We're reaching all-time highs, so when the market is hot, I'm there to do more these types of trades. Here's another possible stock that I'm looking at, and here I was more hesitant. There would be a possibility, like we see here this base, we see here this volume coming in, we could have broken out, now it's testing this base. I can technically get in there for a move up, but I also see this resistance. Now this is again, how hot is the market? If the market is more hot, I can basically jump the gun here, get in there soon, or otherwise I want to wait for confirmation and then I want to wait until it breaks these highs. This time I decided to play conservative and not enter. Now we can see here forming. My trade would have worked out beautifully, but I didn't decide to trade that, no problem. And now I'm just waiting until it gets to those highs, so it breaks out of the resistance of the daily chart, because for all that I know, we're just gonna get here sold off at this beautiful level. Oh, wait. I forgot one trade that I was doing. Let's explain what happened. So here we have this resistance. Here I decided not to wait for this to clear. I just got in there a bit early. That's okay. We had here this volume. We had here no resistance, so it was a solid, but we immediately got slammed down. I don't have any shorts available, but if I had shorts available at the time, then so that would have been a perfect short setup. But for every stock I'm trading, I have my catalysts and reasons to trade it. Now DJT, that's a more questionable stock. So Trump, I remember his catalyst. It was basically fluff catalyst. Was up because they invested in some type of crypto, the Trump media group. But what I find here interesting is we have here this resistance on the daily chart, and if we can break here, then we can go beautifully up. So that's basically what I'm looking at. We have a kind of a fluff headline, but I did like the daily chart, so it's just basic it on the technical break with a bit of a fluff headline. So it's looking for, there's not any entry possibility. PMN here, you see this one. Actually, you see here, this one is forming here. We can see here this resistance, and I'm waiting here for it, this exact area. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for volume, that it breaks out. So that's my typical volcano setup. So we are testing these highs. So now if we're gonna squeeze higher, I will be in there. So let's see what's going on here. So here I'm looking at the resistance for the breakout. So if I entered right when I wanted to enter, if I jumped the gun at this point, that would have been actually a bit nicer possibility, because then but no problem. Waiting is usually the better choice. So we see here my breakout. I decided to enter now. If there's more confirmation, I add in this break. If not, I just manage my position that way. So I decided to wait, basically, see what's gonna happen. And if this is not a convincing break, if it doesn't decide to push higher, then I just take some of the table, as simple as that. Looking here, we find some new resistance right above these highs. That's for me an indication we're still above support, so there is still some possibilities there. So I'm still debating here on PNM. Will I take some of the table or not? What will I do? This is the exact point where I should take some of the table. I remember I did it, maybe I waited. Like right now, I have to take at least half of the table, exactly what I did. And if we go lower, I take more of my position of the table, because that just means the break didn't work. All fine. We will wait for another time when it does. So this is still pre-market. I give it a little bit more room, and then I just take it off the table, as simple as that. And it doesn't mean that I cannot re-enter, because now we are going back, we reclaim my level. This is sometimes I do this, it's not always the right shot, but this time I decided to re-enter and to possibly squeeze higher and then add right there to my position. That's exactly what I ended up doing. So let me just go back a little bit. We squeeze, bam, bam, bam. We squeeze, you see the squeeze. I don't see big resistance on the level 2. Bam, I add to my position perfectly a bit. Oh no, nice on time. So nice on time. And then I added accidentally a bit too much, so that I had to take that off the table. And then later I added my actual TP. So well, that went actually quite good. If we have here this kangaroo tail, so we go up and immediately we get sold into, that means there's a bunch of sellers waiting there and they can push the price down. So and that's just something to be aware of. Now here we see here below, I looked, it's still pre-market on the Donald Trump network. I saw here my breakout idea. We have here also blue volume bar. That's for me clear indication. This is a good volcano setup. Let's play that break and see how far the Trump network can go today. And in the end, it didn't really go anywhere and just got stopped out. Same story with PNM. Now, here I have to take half of the table. If I still have enough trust in the position, I can take everything off the table. But according to my rules, I took here half of the table where I'm supposed to take half of the table. So my first stop loss target, we are now 44 seconds before the open. So there's a possibility that in the open, the buyer's gonna step in or we're just gonna slam down to my stop loss. And that's exactly what I ended up doing because I got stopped out before the open. Apparently we can't and we got sold off the rest of the day. And this is going to be interesting to look at SABS. We see these highs, we see the first the price is rejecting. So looking at this rejection, and in the meantime I'm seeing, okay, yes, the price is rejecting these highs. That's exactly what I want to see, because after it rejects, so that means after the price rejects and then breakouts, that's a perfect idea, because that means we're here at a solid level. So what I'm here looking for is for the price to reclaim the 445 area and shoot out with volume. That's for me gonna be a clear indication that we are gonna shoot upwards. So in the meantime, we are looking here at level 2, bam, bam, bam. We saw the volume, no big resistance, but still the price isn't really following. So I still want the price to follow. Don't jump the gun. That's how you're gonna lose a lot of trades if you jump in too early without a clear. And that's why I have quite a low win rate on this particular setup. I do like to jump the gun. That's not the best idea. Okay, now let's see where I actually enter. Yes, we break here these highs and I enter right there, and now I'm setting my position to manage my risk. Here's gonna happen something very interesting. So okay, we shoot up, that's my first TP. So my rules is I have to take half of the table. Now I don't know exactly what happened. So what I remember when I was trading it, I put my order in to, I remember I set in the exact position size that I want, what was 37. 37 should have been sold at this exact point. And I'm looking, yes. I look here at my screen recordings and I place here an order of 37. Okay, here I see my mistake. I accidentally have placed my profit target twice to my broker. So I thought like, why am I out of this position later? But yeah, you can see here clearly there's 2 active orders of 37. That means I'm 100% out of the position. So well, we see the stock resumes trading. I think like, hey, why am I out of my position? I didn't understand it. Then I went to my broker's website, see, am I actually out of the position? Is there something wrong? Apparently I did the order twice. That's a bit unfortunate because now I'm not in the order anymore and I would like to have a runner. I don't have my runner anymore and I cannot chase it. So I'm still looking like, okay, maybe I can just re-enter on a place where it would have been. That would be perfectly fine. In the end, I could re-enter and I placed my stop losses accordingly. So in the end, both of my stop losses got triggered. That's part of the game. And now for the trade here below, XYZ. It's not the best setup that I did, but we had here this clear support pre-market. Then we claimed the 78 level and I was expecting it to, well, trend upwards the rest of the day. That's not what ended up happening. I just got stopped out. So well, first, the price exactly moving the way I expected. I have here 2 stop losses planned. The reason why I have 2, I don't want to be shaken out to my position. So when a trade goes against me, make my position smaller. When a trade goes my direction, I add to my position. I love that formula. A lot of people think you should do the exact opposite, but that's quite a dangerous approach. This was another trade that was on my scanner. I didn't plan for it, but I looked at a price action. Everything seems so beautiful for my favorite setup. Again, my volcano setup. We see here this damn solid base. We are consolidating against that base. We see here below relative volume is increasing. All I want to see is here on level 2 and no resistance, and bam, we have here a solid trade. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. We see here it's consolidating against this resistance, and we're looking here at level 2. What is gonna happen? Yeah, so in the end we end up breaking, so I enter to my position, but a solid setup. Yeah, this first one wasn't working out, so I just got stopped off my position here twice. The way I was managing the trade didn't work, and that is sometimes part of it. But the fact that that doesn't work out doesn't mean that you can't come back. And the thing was, I'm now just based on my scanner. The best thing to do is just do fast research. What's a catalyst, or what are the SIC filings, so you can have fast an indication of is there an offering. Later you will see that that was a mistake that I did, not researching it, because it ended up costing. But again, we are forming here, this is still the same amount, the exact same setup. It's just my favorite setup. This is this type of breakout. We see here this blue volume bar, relative volume is increasing, and I'm managing my trade. I took there half of the table, and I'm just managing my position. That's so important, because it doesn't mean that your trade instantly gonna work. I just take off the table when it goes against me, and I add when it goes my direction. So I'm looking here at these highs. If we are gonna break out of these highs, then bam, I can add to my position, as simple as that. You see here this trade on air, I entered here a position. We are again forming here this base, looking at level 2, looking at the volume, looking for a possible entry, and can we see a squeeze? We are waiting for the squeeze. We're looking at a resistance. Okay, no resistance. We get a volume, bam, entered. Market order in there, managing the position, very important. So in the meantime, this was a trade we just did. Now on the lower screen here for open, yeah, there's a ticker open. Again, we are at these highs, managing my position there. And then here, eventually here at these highs, we actually end up breaking. On air, I took profit twice because I was conservative for this particular ticker. I did not think that this could squeeze quite high. I didn't enter, we could squeeze very high. So therefore, I did a conservative profit target. So let me just show them how that ended up turning out. This is what we have seen so far, what I've done. So here I entered this breakout, took my first take profits, and then I still have a runner open. So now here I took half of my position. So I still have 25% left, and I have my stop loss right below VWAP. And I just let it go on until the end of the day. And in the end of the day here after hours, let me just zoom out for you. And then after hours, we ended up still quite higher, and I took there everything off the table. The other trade was a bit more frustrating. First, I entered right here at the 340s level, took my first TP. From 11 o'clock, I usually stop trading. If I see a solid setup, then I continue to trade. Now, if I didn't stop trading, then here would have been a solid setup, and then here would have been a great TP. But I had a runner open, and instead I protected my runner right here. But I just protected half of my runner. Beautifully done. So I still have 25% of my position left. So with the 25% that I was left, so then I was like, okay, now I'm done with trading. I am going to the supermarket. I have my stop loss level like right below VWAP here. And immediately, bam, the stock massively sold off it, and it didn't trigger my stop loss until a bit lower, so I gave some back. Yeah, this is a bit unfortunately, and then there's a question of why do these things happen, these massive drop-offs with a ton of volume? That's usually when there is an offering. The problem with my broker is I cannot order. The problem with my broker is I cannot manage my positions remotely. Another issue, I have to choose, especially when a stock is hard to borrow, either I have to choose for a take profit or a stop loss. Obviously, I'm always gonna protect my downside. That also means that if I'm not behind my laptop and actively managing my trades, I cannot take profit. So this beautiful move that I was in, well, it's a bit unfortunate. I have to give everything back because, well, first of all, you need to have very clear rules about your profit targets and how you're gonna manage your downside. Now, I was not actively trading anymore, so I followed my rules completely. So one of my favorite GPT bots, actually I'm doing it now on Perplexity because Perplexity is more factual. We can see here an active dilution overhang, May convertible note ATM filed. Whenever there's an active delusion overhang, it's very, very important to protect your downside, because this just means that the company thinks, all right, now the price is good. We want to cash in our money. And this is a bit unfortunate because I was here up $100. The truth is I could have done that. So that's why it's so important. To note is like, if there's active delusion, you gotta be careful. And obviously this was a meme stock. Got to love the meme stocks. Overall, still green, still decent traded. Yeah, see you tomorrow.